What's up? I'll tell you what's up. Ewoks and trees and space travel. I thought I knew how two of those things worked and had no idea what an Ewok was, and still ain't rightly sure, but phew. Sorry, let me fill y'all in. Welcome to What's Up, brought to you from who knows where, but safely on board the mule again at least. So last we spoke, we were undertaking a peaceful mining gig out in the Taparni sector when out of nowhere a ship battle erupts, and we find a vessel blown to pieces containing none other than Sir Baron von Conrad. He's unconscious, but Rico keeps him safe and sorts him out, bringing him round to tell us what's going on. Now the Taparni sector is far from my specialization, but Conrad has negotiated a peace treaty to help stop the plague that's sweeping the sector, and of course, Mgal is trying to stop it. We agreed to help Conrad track down 8 of the envoys who blew up his ship. Now thankfully Conrad's allies blew them out of the sky before getting blown up themselves, so all we had to do was track them down. We found their crashed vessel and disposed of the 4 bodies on the wreckage, but this meant 4 more had escaped the crash, heading off into the unknown on foot. Now I say unknown, but luckily Conrad had been to this area before and knew roughly what lay ahead. He guided us towards a great tree that some guy named Taka had apparently told him about. Taka, by the way, is an Ewok, so that's 2 of the weird things already on the radar. Trees and Ewoks. So as we approach the tree, the remaining 4 envoys jump us. Guns, blood, and Klon fly everywhere, and with some nifty shooting from Sabaton and Spitz, murderous axe work from Klon, and just whirlwind-like medical aid from Rico, we are triumphant. You'd think this was where our troubles end, but no, it was where they started. Well, my troubles at least. Coming to this great tree, Conrad doesn't really hesitate and touches it, disappearing. Now he did warn us not to touch it and thanked us for our help, but didn't pay us, but you know, rich people. So Conrad disappears into a tree. Yeah, I know. Rico then goes AWOL and decides to go through on his own accord. This kind threw the rest of us, except Klon, who decided this was the best way to gut Sloan, which I will say sounds inviting. So we all decided after a while that we would stick together. Oh, the irony of what happened. But here we are. I opened my eyes to see a few kind of familiar faces, but not ones I expected to see again, and certainly not so soon. Callista, Ilias, Alara, Grayson, Vox, Sash, and no one else to speak of. None of my crew, and rather strangely, the one saving grace, the wonderful lounge of the mule. Was I forever happy to see my old girl again, safe and sound? Or so it seemed. Now firstly, this means that the tree has not only thrown the mule through hundreds and thousands of light years of space, but it has thrown me, at least, onto the ship without so much as a "can I do this to you?" We swapped stories on how we got here, and then out of seemingly nowhere a chest rattles, and after some investigation Conrad pops up. As it will later transpire, he was shoved in there by pirates. Vox gives him the once-over to check him out, and just as we begin to restart our stories on what's happening out of nowhere, these weird-looking chest-shoving pirates appear and claim the ship as theirs. Now that ain't happening, and a bit of a dust-up ensues. Shots fly, and I am very grateful that the others are there, as man can they hold their own. As we start to kick some tail, fate throws another spanner at us and hits us in the gems. I am gonna say out of nowhere again, as this son of a nerf herder was at for sure. A goddamn Rancor drops in from who knows where and starts looking around all hungry like. Grayson and Vox dropped a couple of the pirates as everyone else moved into better positions. We were in a bit of a bind, so taking a shot in the dark, so to speak, I stick the old blowtorch welder on the Rancor's butt, as Alara puts a load of shots into that thing, sending it rampaging into the pirates, wiping the floor with them. Everything appears dead, and we turn our attention to the monster, all putting shots into it as Klon appears from behind the beast and does what he does best. Let's just say the thing is dead. We all regroup, and after some explanations all around, we discover we are all heading the same way, to kill Sloan. Now, the other ship they were on was pretty impressive, but had two drawbacks. The pilot was in a coma, and the rest of them, whilst having good intentions, didn't appear to be sure on how best to fly. I, on the other hand, can fly, but when it comes to blasting stuff, don't hold a glow rod to these guys. The perfect team-up occurred, which, by the way, Disney loves, and we prepared to head into the uncharted areas of the galaxy. To do this, we had to rely on Ilias and a necklace that this Taka had given him. So once again, the Force was guiding us. Who knows where? Thankfully, Ilias was at one with nature, or the Force, or just really lucky, and he mapped out the star charts for us in his mind, obviously. Together we set the mule on a new path, one towards finding the two artifacts, the others needed to put an end to Mgal, and by default, Sloan too. We jumped for 30 hours, and as we did, we all chatted and caught up with various news and things on our minds, until we were unexpectedly dropped from our jump with 2 hours to spare and a huge frigate in front of us. This was where we all seemed to have slightly different ideas. Sash, being I think the most level-headed of us right now, suggested that gaining knowledge was vital, and also identified the vessel as a Nagat-Soon ship. And when scanned, Callista suggested it could be a science vessel. Now others were way more wary, with Alara being the most vocal against it, as in her experience, boarding vessels has proved exceptionally dangerous. Oh, what to do, eh? We decided to try docking, and I brought the mule in nice and slow towards the docking bay. Then alarm bells rang, out of nowhere. Yeah, I said it again. Black tentacles start trying to grab the ship. I hit the thrusters and pulled us out of there super quick like, and we were left to reconsider our plan. I wasn't too sure if this was a good plan or even a plan, but I put it to the others that I had the tools to cut our way onto the frigate with the mining lasers on the mule, and it went down better than I thought. So cue the suspenseful music as we wait to see what lies within the hull of this ancient abandoned frigate. That, my friends, is what's up.